In today's session, we are going to look at the Business Analyst Toolkit. What tools and traits are most valuable when it comes to the work of business analysis? There are these three main categories that we should look at: analytical skills, technical skills, and interpersonal skills. First, let's take a closer look at analytical traits and see how the application of these skills helps in the understanding of the present state, which is the first step in our role as a business analyst. The first query we need to consider is what information is valuable to gather and analyze. Here, we need to know how to separate the wheat from the chaff. In the data that we collect, in the conversations that we have with the stakeholders, in the different documents that we might analyze, we need to be able to see what information helps us to get to the root cause of the issue that we are trying to address. In other words, we need to see what information is kind of unnecessary or not helpful, like which gets in the way or distracts us from the root heart of the matter. For example, we might see that a certain process is running 270% behind schedule, and we might think, well, there's this problem, we've identified the root cause. If it turns out that this is only a 10-second process within a larger framework, which might actually be taking several hours of work to accomplish, then maybe that's not actually the bottleneck we are looking for. So we have to be able to put that analysis in the context along with the information that we've gathered. When it comes to defining the desired future state, we have to think about what the optimal outcome might be. Analytical skills can also be important in determining how we get from the present state to the desired future state. In this area, we need to look at some key information, such as the organization's current competencies. We need to ask few of the following questions. What are we good at right now? What resources competencies? We need to ask few of the following questions. What are we good at right now? What resources do we have to accomplish? What competencies will be required to move us to the desired future state? What do we need to get good, or what type of talent do we need to acquire? In addition to all of these questions, the most important and the final question that we need to ask is whether the expected benefit will exceed the expected cost that we project. Key tools and skills within the analytical area include the analytical skills, like the ability to think creatively, to think critically, to be objective, and to look at things from multiple viewpoints. We need to have knowledge of our business and industry because these tasks will change so much in their particulars, from project to project, topic to topic, and industry to industry. We need to have organizational skills so that we can compile and understand all of the information that we have brought into the fold. If we don't have some sort of way to keep track of the information, it will become very difficult for us to analyze it and leverage it in a way that we can understand. Finally, we can also benefit from project management methodologies. Having an understanding of the project management life cycle and different ways that projects can be accomplished can not only help us with the miniature project of the business analysis that we are dealing with right now, but it will also help in understanding how to put that analysis in context that a project manager will need to succeed in bringing the solution to life. Next, let's take a look at some of the technical skills that are required for effective business analysis. When trying to understand the present state, we have to question what the organization's current technical capabilities might be. After all, we might have a strategic idea from our analytical research of what it is we seek to accomplish, what capabilities we will need to get from here to there. To begin with, we have to understand what we can do right now, because that will give us a better idea of what might be possible and what we will need to change in order to get to the desired state. We need to think about the technical factors which might be responsible in whole or in part for the challenge or opportunity that we are facing. Thirdly, we need to see what technical prowess we need to fully grasp the situation. As a business analyst, we aren't expected to have the same level of expertise like the subject matter experts or the key stakeholders. However, we need to have at least a baseline understanding of our area in order to appreciate what these technical challenges might be. For example, if you're working within software development area, you want to have some understanding of what might be hard or an easy problem to solve from a technical perspective. Rather than simply waving your hands and saying, well, you're smart, you can figure it out. No, that will not work. We need to have an appreciation of what they go through in order to bring the solution to life. Doing so will help us ensure that our end solution is effective and efficient. When it comes to dealing with the desired future state, what changes and how the technical capabilities are expected following completion of work is something we need to be able to speak at some detail so that the objectives we have are clear and measurable. We can't just say we want our systems to be faster. We need to be able to say that we expect to deploy this type of solution using this type of architecture, resulting in X percentage improvement. Without that level of detail, even at this relatively early part of the project, we are simply not offering much value. We also need to think about what new technical skills must be acquired by stakeholders along the way. That while attacking the problem or opportunity on its own will not be cost effective. We are in fact learning so many new things, both in terms of what the key stakeholders and the other resources learn, that it's worth undertaking simply for the educational process. For example, think about the Apollo project of sending the men to moon. Imagine how much was learned by the aerospace committee. There were so many different challenges that had to be met and so many things were learned that didn't just apply directly to the space program but also to a wide variety of industries that touched it in some capacity. These technical skills cascaded through a wide variety of different areas, providing untold benefits into the future. Perhaps your project or type of analysis that you're looking at right now might lead to the same cascading effect, however, at a smaller flow, of course. When it comes to determining how to get there, we have to be bringing the past or the present state into the future. So we have to look at what capabilities that needs to be developed to reach the future state. We need to think about the skills that have to be developed in order to reach the desired state, and who needs to develop those skills is an important question. Finally, as always, we need to also question whether the expected benefit exceeds the expected cost. If not, it's entirely possible that we should not take any action at all. If the benefit exceeds the cost, then we need to continue pursuing this. The key tools and skills from a technical perspective will vary depending on the type of work that you're undertaking. If you are in a software development environment, or a building construction environment, or an aerospace engineering environment, it might be very different in terms of the tools and skills that you need to bring to the table. You need to have an understanding of the technical concepts and the systems thinking abilities which will be useful in all endeavors. So always seek to understand the type of work that you're analyzing. If nothing else, it will provide you with the value context you need to do your job effectively. Finally, in addition to the analytical and technical skills that we need to bring to the table, interpersonal skills are absolutely vital to the business analyst work. When it comes to understanding the present state, we need to think about how stakeholders view this issue. Is it important to them? Is it a contentious topic, something in which there is vested interest on many sides? If so, we could potentially be stepping into a minefield with different ideas and different agendas. We need to keep that in mind so that when we extract information from our sources, we can collect the information as objectively as possible and try to create a solution around which consensus can be built. To do so, we have to first understand how stakeholders might be impacted by the issue and to what degree they can be impacted. Furthermore, the next question will be whether the impact is positive or negative. We also need to think about how much support exists for a progress to be made. It could be a relatively low priority for most people in the organization. If we think it should be of higher priority, then the onus will be upon us to some extent to influence and to build support for a solution to take place. To do so, we will need to be able to provide convincing evidence that can help to rally others for our cause. We have to think about what cultural factors might relate to this issue as well. Based on your organization's norms, there may be different ways of doing things in place. More positively, there might be certain traits of the organization within it that can allow us to aggressively tackle the problem. Understanding these cultural factors gives us an idea of what's possible and practical, given that we have to work with other people in the organization. Then about the impact of the political climate within the organization. This needs to be kept in mind when understanding the present state and what might shift or change or what responses might be as we move from here to the future state. In the future, we need to think about what will be different, whether it will be better or worse, and what skills and knowledge will have to be created within the organization. Here, we can help to develop the skills of some of these stakeholders, perhaps make their workplace a fun or a desirable place, which can lead to better talent in the future. We might make people more satisfied with their jobs, helping us to retain them in the long run. Or we can help to reduce frustrations that lead to higher levels of productivity. All of these can be positive outcomes for the organization and relate directly to the personal context of the problem that we might be analyzing. In determining how to get there, we have a number of questions that we should ask. First, what communication methods are most effective and efficient when dealing with different stakeholders? How can we help to convey our message and extract information from them that can be valuable? Oftentimes, focus groups or different moderated sessions might be used in order to gather more information about the needs. In these cases, there might be arguments, disagreements about what is wrong or what the best path can be. How do we diffuse these and help to ensure that the focus remains on finding a solution? What kind of influence must be used, and by whom and on whom? Do we have the authority from a formal sense to require stakeholders to speak with us? In many cases, we might not, which means we need to be persuasive. We need to find ways to make them believe and understand and buy into the value of what it is that we are trying to accomplish. After all, everyone perceives their own time as very valuable. And if you need some of someone else's time, then the onus is on you to convince them that it's worth their time. Finally, what kind of team environments must be managed within business analysis? This is true both during the analysis process when multiple individuals might work together and when it comes to the sort of solutions that we might propose. We need to understand the project environments that might be practically possible and likely to succeed within the organization. Key skills and tools that are extremely useful in this regard include a wide variety of communication skills such as conflict resolution, an awareness of cultural differences, decision making skills, facilitation, where we can help to facilitate discussions between others, the leadership, and as well as negotiating skills, political awareness of the landscape around us, and the type of responses we might expect from different stakeholders, presentation skills that can allow us to share this information. So, by the end of this session, you would be having a better idea of the different types of skills that are needed to become a good business analyst